Hello, kia ora koutou, welcome. Thank you for coming to this very strange and silly event called Juvenalia, Visions of Our Youth. That's what we went with, eh? So for this event, the five of us, I'm Freya Daly-Sadgrove, this is Nathan, I've written everyone's names down so I don't forget everyone's names, but yeah, anyway, this is Emma, this is Abby, and this is Jess. And we'll be sharing everyone's acts so that you can find us once you hear our extremely serious, beautiful, important art that we will be sharing with you tonight. So for this project, we each shared a piece of our childhood artwork with another of us, and then that other of us wrote beautiful poetry, monologues, short stories, inspired by such things as a big chalk. So I'm going to kick us off by reading what I wrote about Nathan's big chalk. Okay, it's called A Big Chalk. Not a zow. I am a big chalk. I am a big chalk, and I have eaten something unusual. I was not supposed to eat it, and now I am a big chalk. I was not always a big chalk. Before I ate the thing I was not supposed to eat, I was something else, but now I have eaten it, and I am a big chalk. When I ate the thing I shouldn't have eaten, it went zang, zang into my throat. Before it went zang, zang into my throat, it went clatch, clatch, clatch between my teeth. Whoa, why did I eat that thing? My throat is long. The thing I shouldn't have eaten is taking a long time to go down my throat. Zang, 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 zang. On and on it zangs. I had little children. They will be much older now, perhaps teenagers. That is how long a big chalk's throat is. Zang, zang. I wonder if I will ever see my children again. I wonder if they will recognize me. I wonder if I will recognize them. My throat is so long. My throat is as long as your life. See? Look at it from this angle. And now this. You can see that my throat is as long as your life. That's how long a big chalk's throat is. My throat is not as long as my own life. My life is longer than yours. When you are dead, I will still be alive. When you die, the thing I am not supposed to have eaten will reach my lower esophageal sphincter, and my lower esophageal sphincter will relax, allowing the thing I should not have eaten to drop into my stomach. That's when it will be goodbye and good night to you. It's not all the way down yet. Zang, zang, zang. I will stand here and wait. When you die, I will be right here. You won't be here. Not only in the sense that you will be dead, but also in the sense that you will have left this room long before the thing I shouldn't have eaten reaches my lower esophageal sphincter, and my lower esophageal sphincter relaxes, allowing the thing I should not have eaten to drop into my stomach. There is really no telling where you will have got to by the time that happens, but I will be right here. Don't worry, I will not get too bored. Your life is very short to me. Imagine talking to someone whose life was only as long as your throat. That is what it is like for me to talk to you now. That is how long your life is to me. Very short, really. When I think about it that way, my throat doesn't seem so long. My throat is as short as your life, but it is much, much longer than your throat. How many How many words could you say to someone whose life was as long as your throat? Not many. Not nearly as many as I am saying to you right now, I shouldn't think. You might only get one word in, or only half a word. Do you even know what word you would say? What half word? You would have to have a word prepared in advance. You couldn't waste any time thinking of what to say. They'd be dead by the time you thought of it. You are lucky your life is so much longer than that person's. Yes, you are lucky your life is so much longer than that person's, and I am lucky my life is so much longer than yours. I didn't have to prepare what I was going to say in advance. I'm just saying whatever comes into my head. That is a big chock's prerogative. You don't have to make plans when your life is as long as mine. There is no rush. I can't recall if my life was this long before I became a big chock. My throat certainly wasn't this long. Perhaps my life was not so long either. Perhaps it was a good thing I ate that thing I shouldn't have eaten. Oh, but I had little children. And where are they now? I really think they won't recognize me now that I am a big chock. They remember me as a parent with a throat of normal length. And I remember them as little children. No, we will not recognize each other. Oh, why did I eat that thing? Perhaps I will never see my children again. Perhaps we will not even have the opportunity to not recognize each other. I suppose I will never know. I wish I could apologize to my little children, who will be adults by now, perhaps apprenticed to a tradesperson or starting out a career in the arts. Oh boy, I wish I had not eaten that thing. When I had that thing between my teeth, clatch, clatch, clatch it went, and already I knew I should not be eating it, but I did not spit it out. The moment it touched my teeth, I knew I was as good as a big chock already. Spitting it out wouldn't change my fate, and also, it would make a mess on the ground. I did not have any paper towels, so I did not spit it out and make a mess on the ground. I chewed it up, clatch, 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 and it became a mess inside my mouth instead. Clatch, 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 between my teeth, and it was hot and wild and unusual. I can't tell you the dread I felt with that thing I should not have eaten becoming a mess between my teeth. Clatch, clatch, clatch. And with each clatch, I lost a bit more of what I used to be and found a bit more big chock. Clatch, 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 chock, 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 until I was a big chock through and through. A big chock with a long, long throat, down which the thing I should not have eaten still continues to zang. Zang, zang. I can still feel it going down. I suppose you will be glad to hear that because it means you are still alive. That is nice for you. Do you have little children? Do you have a parent? You may have a parent with a throat of normal length. I implore you to go home and wrap your parent with their throat of normal length in a warm embrace. You never know when they might eat something they shouldn't and become unrecognizable to you. In fact, are you in your late 20s or early 30s? And do you perhaps have an established career as a tradesperson or a precarious career as some kind of artist? If you are, might I suggest that you go home and check on your parent with their throat of normal length? Go home and check that they are still there. If you go home and find that they have disappeared, and if perhaps you find that there is something missing from your house that you would never expect your parent to eat, you might consider coming back here and trying very hard to see if I could be your missing parent. But I don't harbor any special hopes. Oh, why did I eat that thing? That's that. So this was Nathan's piece of work. Do you know how old you were when you drew it? Truly no clue.
It's like really repressed.
Deep.
It's deep.
Deep in the past. Well, I took great pleasure from the big chock, so thank you, Nathan. And now Nathan will come and read his thing.
I'm going to preamble a bit because my piece is not as substantial as Freya's. so I'm going to preamble a bit, I think, at the beginning and the end, just to riff on the experience of receiving this. I mean, it's been such an interesting... Oh, thank you. I am short. Been such an interesting sort of thing, looking at youth art, and I was like, oh yeah, that is what young people do. I kind of wish I'd gone with the more kind of straight up riff of just talking about SpongeBob, chatting away almost now, like Big Chalk style. But instead mine was more like a response to the art. So I did an oral history of my millennial upbringing. Oral, A-U-R-A-L, not O-R-A-L, because that's a very different piece of writing. Recently, I've been thinking about memory and the things that have fundamentally shaped me, because I'm the sort of guy who struggles with being present, and Juvenalia seems to be the perfect expression of that. The thing that pulls me back is sound, or the crisp memory of a sound. More than sight or smell or even taste, sound effects, sound bites, phrases and voices, quotes and utterances. Imagine being born in 1991, the same year as Terminator 2, The Silence of the Lambs, and Hook, which are all released in cinemas. Your own earliest film-going experience is the visceral sound of a roar, of Hakuna Matata, of The Lion King. The memory of your own tears, your own crying haunts you. Your early year ears are filled with an uneasy combination of Cantonese and English. Sundays are spent at Chinese school, the two languages fighting for dominion in your mind, in your vocabulary. Suffice to say, English wins. The phrase ni hao is something you learn to distance yourself from. It's a phrase that reeks of shame and embarrassment, tastes like failure of fitting in. Sometimes sounds are so visceral they evoke other senses too. Skip to 98-99 and you get your Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Color, breaking open your mind to the world of console gaming. The sound of bullets ricocheting as you play GoldenEye 007, of Mario collecting coins and saying Yahoo! Before finally moving into the world of the PS2 and discovering the Final Fantasy theme music for the first time. Dun 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 dun. In between, the wild, wild west of the internet catches you. You can practically hear the tumbleweeds of a world free from parental supervision, free from rules or censorship, for better or for worse. The sound of the dial-up modem, the only thing between you and sexual awakening, puberty coinciding with the sounds of pornographic grunting. You think, is this what sex sounds like? Is this what I will sound like? Back when you were innocent enough to not question names like Squirt or Sticky TV. Back when your only notion of toxic masculinity was Dragon Ball Z and your mate screaming Kamehamehas at each other. When Marge saying, "Homie," felt revolutionary. Skip to 2004, late night phone calls with friends, when late night phone calls with friends still had that same sort of panicked urgency because it was the only way to really talk to them back then. And it's not long before the advent of cell phones and texting was paying per text when you spent hours shopping for ringtones like Cartman saying, "Would you like to suck on my balls, Mr. Garrison?" Like thinking that was the funniest thing ever. You're shocked by how little you remember from high school, though the national anthem was a vibe. No, it's unfortunately the still reverberating echoes of young teenage boys quoting Borat to you, or calling things gay, back when gay meant lame, back when you were called a gaybo before you had touched another dick, back when you were called a sad guy before you had experienced depression. Like no wonder coming out felt so fraught. No, it's the cartoons you watched more than the friends you made, which is sort of heartbreaking. It's Patrick Star saying Wumbo, or the first rule of Fight Club, or listening to Abbey Road for the first time etched most permanently in your brain. You child of pop culture, you creature made up not of flesh or bone, but points of reference. It's friends saying lol out loud, or ruffle, or lamau, or rufflecopter, or la mayonnaise, because you didn't have personalities, and that's okay. It's 2011, and your innocence and adolescence is truly coming to an end. With a dreaded Grindr notification alert, your Pavlovian response tied to the image of dick pics. You remember those sounds better than you remember birthdays. You miss the sound of Crash Bandicoot smashing boxes and that mask that goes ooga booga. It shocks you, but you want to be 13 again, Because yeah, those sounds inspire revulsion, but also nostalgia. You miss the subtle nuance of saying biatch instead of hey bitch. Miss calling people noobs or pros, or for shizzle my nizzle, because you never quite figured out what your nizzle is, and is it too late to ask? And re-listening to My Chemical Romance the other day, you wish you had the courage to admit you loved it way back then. And yes, this response is basically just 1999 by Charlie XCX and Troye Sivan, and you're kinda okay with that. Thank you. Thanks, Jess.
This is beautiful. Yes, this beautiful diagram of the ear, and the inner ear, talked to by SpongeBob, is by our dear Jess Thompson-Carr, who will now respond to Emma Lyons' beautiful poem.
Which I've handily signed for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I should read it out? Should we read it out?
I think we should read it out.
Okay. Up here.
I think I can. This is Emma's poem. I had a dream that I wrote into the night. The sky. Oh, I need it on my phone, so I can't read that. I'm going to get it up. Hang on a jiffy. Sorry. Butchering your beautiful art. I had a dream that I wrote into the night. The sky a blaze of light. I had a feeling, my chest a little tight. I knew that I was the only one to fly that super bike. The wings speed out and balanced me in the air. I must admit, I was a little scared. I ducked here and there, avoiding the sparks. I hew across the sky with a pounding heart. That night I will remember, for it was one of a kind, the time I had a flying bike and rode it on fireworks night. By Emily. I wish that had been my poem. Mine's really short.
That's cool,
did
man.
Chunky, beautiful.
I just kept on going.
That chalk poem got me, eh? One with many endings, but it never ended. And I loved every second. So I wrote this response. I was a little stumped, but it's a poem about a night bike in the sky, and I don't like flying. So this is basically just a why I don't like flying poem. Okay, it doesn't have a name, sorry. I have aerophobia, a gut-twisting, bone-chiseling, spike of the senses, waking night terror, fear of flying. I cannot board the plane without a prayer to a God I don't believe in, and I must have a specific Beyoncé song playing in my ears during takeoff. Before big exams and important meetings, instead of teeth falling out, I dream about planes lurching in half mid-flight. But I am less shaky on night flights. In the dark, we cannot see how high we are. In the dark, we do not exist within laws of physics. I could be flying around, I could be driving, I could be sitting still on the ground, be it a loud, bumpy ground, but the ground no less. And I know for a fact that I would rather fly on the night bike, plucked from the pages of a much-loved exercise book, than via Air New Zealand. Like fireworks in the sky, Harry with Hagrid, I would rather hook my arms around the waist of death on his roaring hog, ripping across the fields of heavenly hell, plucking the souls from victims, not myself, for I am afraid of death, than be trapped in the plain of purgatory. I would for sure rather be a passenger in Apollo's golden chariot, on the mission of pulling the sun across the sky, singing along with the syrupy lyre on our way to Auckland. I would even prefer to be the damsel with a perfect jawline and heaving bosom on the back of Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider bike. Way too hot for him, yet hopelessly in love with her. And that's saying something. I would 100% rather be passenger seat of Lil Kim's How Many Licks Sleep Black, and if you see me, a shiny black Lamborghini fly by, shoom, that's me, the Night Rider vehicle. Lil Kim, please take me to Wellington. Rich desires, my life would be in safe hands with you. 60 on the bezel, 100 on the rings, sitting pretty baby with a cash money bling. The greats of the sky. There are thousands of automobiles skid marking the stars, and I will avoid all of them if I can. I am a child of Tijuana. I do not belong up high, but happy to watch the engines roar and the metal gleam and the sparks spit from land. That's my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you.
Oh, that's so small. It wasn't this small before when I tested it. But okay, so up now we have Emma responding here to Abby's art, two pieces. Do they go together?
They don't.
Oh, don't they?
They kind of feel like they go really nicely together. And
Oh, I
also
thought you wrote this on the back of it. I just assumed. And I was like, a love letter to this mystery man.
Oh, hey, oh, look at this.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Freya.
Yeah.
Oh, she knows how to.
720p.
So it didn't occur. Eliana came over on like Tuesday or Wednesday and she's like, oh, wings. And I was like, is that what that word is?
Can you give us a go at reading it?
Yeah, so I'm a angel with golden hair, blue, what's that middle bit? Eyes, wings, XOL. I'm a girl. Here is my boyfriend. And here he is. Oh, yeah. He's a bit lovely. So this is called I'm a mixing everything up. This guy made your eyes bluer than they were, the cold your nose red. I told everyone you were my boyfriend. Drew big D's in flesh colour all over my books. When the sun came out, there you stood by the fire hydrant, the wind making a noose of your long black hair. You looked angelic with those blowjob lips. The girls said you twisted eyes, but I didn't mind that. I liked it when you wore your mother's old green jumper, hairy from your cat. I'm a mixing everything up. I'm a mixing everything up. Your G's were big small E's. You were all face and knees. I'm a mixing everything up. I'm a mixing everything up. And what if I told you that none of it mattered, especially not the age of love? I'm a mixing everything up. I'm a mixing everything up. Not everyone will take to the bed for you, my love. Not everyone will care enough. I find tributes to you on the internet, images of that sometimes smile. You always had that hand in your pocket, hiding something from the rest of us. I wanted bad to make you a mixtape. I'd have decorated the shit out of that case. You'd a sister with golden hair who sometimes forgot your name. I wonder if you ever really existed as anything other than primary colour. I'm a mixing everything up. I'm a mixing everything up. Your G's were big small E's. You were all face and knees. I'm a mixing everything up. I'm a mixing everything up. And what if I told you that none of it mattered, especially not the age of love? I'm a mixing everything up. I'm a mixing everything up. I wrote poetry about you in loud with intimacy from the corner of the playground under a tree. But don't go thinking you're the only one I painted pictures for. I was a slut with that paintbrush, taking pleasure in having all the love I wanted, putting myself on those lips wet, pages full of desire sticking together, the faces bleeding to butterflies, my parents draping them proudly around the house like sirens. Oh, I tried desperately to bury my intensity. I'm a mixing everything up. I'm mixing everything up. Your G's were big small E's. You're all face and knees. I'm a mixing everything up. I'm a mixing everything up. And what if I told you that none of it mattered, especially not the age of love? I'm a mixing everything up. I'm a mixing everything up. And I wrote XO on everything long before Gossip Girl, sending love off on wings across the page, everything excitement with exclamation. I can say all these things now about boys from the past. Now I've no more interest in them. I paint these days with the blood inside me leaking from my crushed up heart. All those boys I drew instead of drawing myself, to all the space I didn't take up. I'm a mixing everything up. I'm a mixing everything up.
You went there. You went all the way. And this was Abby's beautiful art. So now we will have Abby responding to my art. Oh! And then we'll have a little talky talk.
Yeah.
So I've written a short story based on the art. I was 11 years old when the monsters came. I was sitting on the floor of my bedroom watching a VHS of Cats the Musical, the 1998 straight-to-video version. A magnificent watch. I was replaying the song The Invitation to the Jellicle Ball, which I know that you're thinking, why would you replay that song, Abby? Why not Rum Tum Tugger? That's way better objectively. But The Invitation to the Jellicle Ball is a Monk Strap heavy number. And I really liked Monk Strap. He was really lithe. He was a sort of tabby cat, the leader of the cats in some ways, the second in command to old Deuteronomy. And I knew the actor's name was called Michael Gerber, and at school I pretended he was my boyfriend who lived in America until my friend Becky was like, stop. Anyway, I was rewinding this particular section I liked where the camera zooms in on Monkster's strap and he says, Jellicles come to the Jellicle Ball, close up. And then there was a giant bang on the window. Outside my room, hovering a polite distance away, was a small yellow monster. He was surrounded by a yellow orb, and he seemed to hang back, floating, looking at me intensely. His eyes bored into mine. They seemed to say, I know what you're doing in here. Suddenly, a rap at the door. Oh no, my tea was ready. I hope that it wasn't stew. I turned off my VHS and headed downstairs. When I returned to the bedroom later that night after watching Nanny McPhee with my family, which was fine, the monster had gone. I saw the little yellow monster again a few weeks later. I was going to get a haircut and was surprised but not unappreciative to find I had a male hairdresser. His name was Daniel. He didn't do actually what I wanted with my hair. It came out kind of red, which I did not ask for. But at the point, it didn't really matter. When he was washing my hair at the basin with his hands, I heard the bang again, and the little yellow monster was there in the window, hanging back. No one else seemed to see the noise or see the monster, so I didn't say anything, because I would literally rather die than be considered weird. Anyway, my hair didn't turn out that great, and I didn't really see the monster again for a while. But I did see other monsters. One day I woke up to see a small monster sitting on my chest, his stumpy hands dug deep into my pits. This monster looked the most human. He was wearing purple pants and a blue shirt. He was dripping with sweat, a little bag of wet. He too had an orb, but the moisture made it smudgy and blurry. He had the bad stink. I was embarrassed for him. That little monster hung around me for a whole year, and I was so afraid that anyone was going to see him. I wore thick jumpers all the time. If I had to wear a t-shirt, I made sure that it was black, but I only had one black shirt, and it had like a pink glittery skull in it, which was very much not my vibe, but I wore it all the time, lest anyone catch a glimpse of the dripping, stinking monster that had attached itself to my sweet pits. I even wrote into Dolly Doctor about the monster, and they did publish it in the sealed section of the magazine, but they didn't give me any solutions I hadn't already tried. Mitchum, the extra strong deodorant, they think I hadn't already used that, thought it was an amateur. The other monsters appeared in quick succession. The little green monster, surrounded by a disgusting orb of hair in places I didn't even know it was possible to have hair. He remained close to the ground, hiding himself in shame. He was grotesque, unlovable. In many ways, I hated him more than I hated the rest of them. One day, I woke up and I knew something felt different. I'd been having a really nice dream about the Phantom of the Opera, specifically played by Michael Crawford, star of the stage and screen and television. This was encouraging to me because at that point I did kind of believe the Phantom of the Opera lived in my walls a little bit. There was one moment where I was listening to Angel of Music, which is when the song with the Phantom first appears, and I was looking in the mirror and the Phantom comes out of the mirror. and then the light bulb above me like went out, and I was like, it's happening. But it did. It was just kind of my dad got these like low energy bowls and just went out all the time. He says he's an eco warrior, but he's just cheap. Anyway, I woke up, I put on this nice fluffy hoodie with a star on it that I got from JJ's, and I headed out to see my mum, who was doing some work in the garden. Then suddenly, and without warning, erupting out of the ground like two round volcanoes, and I wrote brackets, great writing, was two mounds, one slightly bigger than the other, I think. I grasped at my chest in pain. Why now, I cried. The mound kept growing until it revealed itself into the fourth monster. And like the four horsemen of the apocalypse whose presence served to signal a disaster to come, the greatest of the monsters was yet to appear. The mother, she was here. She was monstrous, massive, gushing blood that pooled in a crimson wave on the ground. Pads of cotton were stuck to her head and shoulder, but they were ineffective at staunching the flow. Immediately, my stomach ached, I was exhausted, I had some lower back pain, a little bit of a headache as well. Inexplicably, tears started pooling in my eyes. Why, I thought, I'm not really that sad about anything, I can't think of anything. Why am I crying? But then there I was, lying on the ground, crying for no real reason, while the monsters raised up around me, surrounding me and enveloping me. I still see the monsters sometimes, they're still around. They've not disappeared. Some of them I'm like, oh, come on, really? I still gotta sweat that much as an adult? But the monsters are like, I'm afraid so. And I'm like, dang. These monsters can't be tamed, but alas, they can be lived with.
Beautiful. So these were our pieces of art, and we're now going to have a little serious discussion about them. So I thought, first of all, did any of us have any questions for the person of whose art we wrote?
I'm curious, Jess, did you memorise that air diagram or did you copy it from a book?
I actually memorised it from class.
That's pretty good.
Because we had to do it for a test, so I'm pretty sure that was a test that I had to do. And they were like, make it quirky, so pick whoever you want to put out the sound, and everyone did music notes. And I think the SpongeBob movie just came out, so I was real excited to flex my SpongeBob animation skills.
No, I think it's like a really beautiful when art meets science.
Thank you. I appreciate it because I'm not scientific at all, so I'm surprised that survived. It was either that or a bunch of movie scripts by an 8-year-old or a 6-year-old. I used to write movie scripts, but it was movies that already existed. So you would have got Finding Nemo or E.T. mixed with The Secret Garden. It would merge them. But that was the only drawing I could find, sorry.
It's a beautiful drawing.
Thank you.
I was really perplexed by SpongeBob, so
Yeah.
little bit of context. That's beautiful. A beautiful thing.
It's good to know.
Do you still like? Sorry. Just do you? Can you? Did it stick in your head?
No. As soon as I do a test, it goes out again. Every test I've ever done, that's happened. Except maybe like, every other it all goes. It all leaves me. But it's cool to see. Maybe I'll relearn. Did you learn something from it?
Oh yeah. Hang on.
Do you remember anything?
Not really. Honestly, my favourite part was the sound waves and the snail bit.
Yeah. Snail, snail chub.
Yeah, the snail chub really creeped me out.
Hey, I couldn't protest, I can't say it wasn't the snail chub in my hair.
Well, so is this ear canal or ear camel?
Wait. Oh, it looks pretty ear camel.
I love that.
Yeah.
Carnel, camel. my spelling was, I don't know why people pay me for art now. They're
Strong
shocking,
beginnings,
isn't it?
man.
And I wasn't even that young. I was 8. You'd think I was 5. That's ridiculous.
I think I think don't take yourself down. I think it's creative spelling, and that's
Thank you.
that's a beautiful thing. Were you going to ask Emma a question?
I was wanting to ask if that Night Bike poem is about Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I thought right. I wasn't sure.
Plagiarism, it's a found poem. Yeah. But like my parents sent it to me, I think like last year, they're like, we found this poem, isn't it so beautiful? And I was like, it's just the first Harry Potter book. And as well, I was like 14. I think
really
like
good.
old.
It's
You have
really
lovely
good.
handwriting.
Oh, my swirls. Wasn't everybody into the swirlies?
I wasn't allowed to. I had a real issue at school with handwriting, the worst subject.
Yes.
Where, like, I hated it. I thought it was a waste of time, and also I wasn't allowed to do round-bottomed W's.
Oh, I wasn't allowed
I
to
had
progress.
to do spiky ones.
Are you in our school? You couldn't progress from pencil to pen for a really long time. And I was like the last loser on a pencil for so long.
I was the last one at my school.
Yes.
I was 12
Shame.
years old, and they said, look, you don't deserve your pen license, but you have to start using a pen because you have to use one at high school.
That's exactly what happened to me.
Oh
They were
my
like,
God.
just take it because we've given up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rough
I'm
times.
so jealous. I didn't get my pen license. They forgot about me. And I think that's why I write to defy them. I'm so angry.
Yeah.
I still think about it quite
Yeah,
a
maybe
lot.
that's all of our origin stories.
Yes.
Is writing. Yeah, did you guys get your pen licenses?
Yeah, I feel like a real outlier because I had lovely penmanship.
But Abby, what's in the middle? What's in the
I
circle?
don't know. I don't know what that is.
Oh my god, I love it.
I'm sorry.
Gimme! I think it says gimme! No, it doesn't say that because I saw the plus.
If I had to guess, I would say it was my heart.
Oh.
Yeah, but I have no idea what this was for. It appears to be on fax.
And it says, here is my boyfriend, but he's not there. Like,
He's not there.
who is he? Is he the little guy at the top?
I think it is. Yeah, that's a little guy.
Sort of
that's
human
pretty-
shaped.
I think that sums it up to say, here is my boyfriend, and there's nothing.
I love the way that the girl, it looks like era. It took me a while to be like, what is this word?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the backwards G, love that.
Yeah.
So awesome.
I loved that incorporation in your response. It felt like a real pivotal kind of part.
Yeah.
It's inconsistent,
It
my
is.
friend.
Are you coming at me for getting my pen license?
Because premature. I'm a little bitter, so.
It does look like you wrote this with pen, so if this is
Yes.
standard,
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, whatever is going to come out is perfect. It won't need to be changed. I am an angel with golden hair, blue.
Except whatever happened before golden hair, there was an error.
Oh, yes. Smudge it out.
Or it's an egg.
No.
Maybe it's your baby.
Yeah.
I thought it was like you were trying to draw your eyes, your blue eyes, but
Oh,
you were
yeah,
doing
yeah.
on top of each other instead of side by side. Because you're quirky.
I'm pretty quirky, but also looking at it, most likely a grievous error. I'm not sure why that one I decided to erase and not all the other ones.
I just love the exclamation marks. It's amazing. And after wings, yeah, what does it say there? Like XOL.
Wings. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it does look like.
exclamation mark. Which I still
with an
do
exclamation
sometimes.
mark, yes.
I'll have to do a little, like, X. Like an emphatic kiss.
Yeah, like I fucking mean it. Love it.
And now what about this guy?
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess also on trend for me to draw a haunting monster in a romantic way as well. Big D.
Yeah. It's that fleshy D.
Yeah. No, I can't. I struggled to find a piece of art that actually was good. This was the best one I could find because I was very bad.
I love
as a
I
kid.
think it's cool. I'd want it on a t-shirt.
Oh, really?
He's got.
It looks like he's wearing like a scary, those things that's like, it's all like, you pull it up over your thing.
Ski mask.
Yeah, the ski
Balaclava.
mask. Yeah. Yeah, and doesn't he have blowjob left? He's a sexy guy.
He's certainly got like a hey, like he's definitely got bedroom eyes.
He's got serious bedroom eyes. He's like, is he looking at me? No, he's not.
He looks like a sad musician type. He's like,
He does. Yeah, he's so morbid.
He's Dunedin
Yeah.
guys.
about the feelings from Dunedin.
I'd say he had many portraits drawn about him, like a bit enigmatic,
So I will ask now, how difficult was it for each of you to actually find something? Because I feel like there's different levels of hoarder amongst our parents and ourselves. I personally have a huge tub of personal detritus that I keep under my bed and get out quite frequently. I have like a very close relationship with everything that I've ever put out of my hands and brain since deep childhood.
I love that. You take it out like have a little cry.
Not a cry, like a genius.
Oh,
You genius!
love
This,
that.
in fact, is a picture of my family.
Abby.
But the very
The little froggy one. Who's that?
the confusing part. So that is my dad, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I've done an extra family member that doesn't exist. So I don't know who the fourth person is, but there's my mum and my sister and I, and then just like creepy little.
Did you have an imaginary friend?
Yes.
Maybe?
Okay, I made up I had an imaginary friend, but I was very much aware that it was like, if you were a cool imaginative child, you should have an imaginary friend.
Oh my god, yes.
So I told everyone I had one.
So it wasn't an imaginary friend.
It was like a attention-seeking kind of thing.
Friend,
She was
yeah.
called Denise. Yeah.
I thought it was a bird because the paint stroke going down like a little V looks like a beak to me. It might be the
I
angle.
didn't really notice that a few of them have nipples.
Yeah. Or like body faces.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was like a recognition of the 3 points of interest on the top. It is like they are like a face, really. Observation, little art making.
I had a folder that my mum was like, here's a folder of your artwork, and I looked over them and I was like, these are terrible, Mum. I was the worst. And she's like, oh no, I found some good ones. Here's where I kept your good ones. And they were all my sisters. So yeah, I was not good at art at all.
Hey,
No,
man.
yeah, and it's rough because that's all you do for like the first couple of years.
Yeah.
You know?
So
yeah, I
rough.
remember we had to draw a
Good
Polly
judge.
Pocket one time, and I did the Polly Pocket, and it was so terrible. And the girl next to me, Laura, she did a Polly Pocket, and she did it so well. And I remember being like, I hate myself. And it had a really
And
strong,
that's where it began.
yeah, really strong Welsh accent. It was like, I hate myself. Yeah.
Wow, real like artistic anxiety
Early on, yeah, only building.
I used to draw for my friends' projects and they'd give me some of their lunch, like I'd trade my drawings for their lunch. And it was because I was the first kid in the class to have to know how to draw hair. Like people would draw it one strand.
Yeah.
But I learned how to do several behind around the neck, so it looked like you had more hair. And everyone was like, wow, can you do mine? I'll give you something. And I took it, and I did that for a long time.
That's how you learn to hustle.
Yeah.
It was
Oh no, I
good.
told my mother that I needed something. She's like, oh, that's all I need now. Look for that. I was like, thanks, Mom. But she did go up in the attic and stuff eventually, but she found nothing.
Except for the beautiful motorbike rip-off.
Yeah. Which my dad sent.
It's got impressive kind of scansion and like a lovely rhyme kind of lovely, solid hold on the...
But I was so annoying as a child. Like, yeah, I used to write books, but they were actually just me coming up with loads of character names.
Yes.
And deciding who went out with who and like what their dilemmas were, and then like not writing any of the books.
Yeah.
And then I would read them out to everyone at dinner, and so they're all like, "Oh my god, go away."
Oh my god, I love that.
But yeah,
I
my art
used
was
to
trash.
draw my book posters for my book release, but I never wrote the book.
No, that's mine was
Yeah.
all just research, and then so Tabitha and George will go out for a while, and then drama will ensue. I never wrote the drama.
Yeah, I found your poem beautiful and so difficult to write a poem about.
It was really hard to get going, eh?
Let's go with that. Where did you kind of get to your bit? Because I did fairly straight big chalk. You went more abstract. What drove it? I mean, I gave you a pretty bizarre brief.
Yeah, I'm not very clever, so I don't know how to. So I was really struggling with this one, and I really pulled it out of my arse. I'm sorry, but
Beautiful, fragrant offering.
it was just literally read Night Bike, Heights. Oh, I don't like flying. I'll just talk about that. And
I think that's valid as.
Totally.
who I am.
Because originally I was thinking we'd go like ekphrasis, which is, if you're unfamiliar with the term, a kind of, I think it originally was like an intense description of a visual artwork through words, but I have used it before as like a response to art, to an artwork, and so I was like, we'll do an ekphrasis of some silly art, but also I really like using something very much as a jumping off point. So I think like for me with old chalk, I think I went like just saying chalk is so fun. And I think I sort of started a little free writing type thing, and the bloody kind of mess at the top, and it turns into the yellow, was what kind of made me start really exploring swallowing as an action.
That's pretty wild. I could only find this one book, and I've got such a fuzzy, hazy memory of my childhood. Like, I remember bits and pieces, but it's more like going back to your piece. My response to that was like, "Wow, I don't remember my childhood very much." But sounds, like catchphrases and
You got
bits and
so
pieces.
deep. It was
That's
beautiful.
like the thing. Like, I always joke with my mates all the time about the fact that we're products of a generation that's like grown up on the internet, and like the internet is what I remember more than anything, and like quotes and bits and bobs of movies, memes,
From the get-go.
Messenger.
I've memed my memory to death.
I love that. I really loved your piece.
I love the way that there's something in the background, and then there's like a random
Rubbed out.
thumb coming out of his.
It's a hand.
Oh yeah, the thing on the other side of the page.
Yeah.
I sort of only noticed it towards the end, and I was like, man, I could have added a whole another 4 pages.
It doesn't fit with the big chalk narrative.
It's like a ghostly hand.
I love
in
that.
the background. Yeah, and I do love the iconic refill paper there.
Yes.
So iconic,
Very atmospheric.
And also the constant renaming. I love it's like, no.
Yeah, not a Zow.
No.
Not a big
That's,
shawl.
that's not good enough. Here I go again. Big chalk. And then you wrote it twice. I love that.
Yeah.
What
Yes.
is a big
I'm just going to rub it in.
I'd love to find out.
Oh, you don't know what a chalk is? I reckon it's your, it looks a bit suggestive of what it is.
Like Freudy stuff.
Freudy. Oopsie Freudy.
I love the big chalk. As a child, I loved to make up words and names for things.
Yeah, me too.
I named all my diaries. One was called Nomical, but with a C at the front, and the C was silent.
Oh,
I had an alien called Spend and Telegon.
Wow.
Yeah, I can remember my entire childhood.
Wow.
That's so good.
I don't know. I'm kind of stuck in it. I'm still there. Can't get out.
No, I just remember learning about the Spanish, upside down, exclamation mark, and then it just reminded me in your piece, like that's all they did was do the span, like up at the end of every sentence, like an exclamation mark this way and then that way, and you were like, I'm so excited for life. I wish I still had that NZYWF.
Actually, my emails are still like that. A lot of exclamation points.
Same.
Yeah.
I need to tone it down sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do an exclamation mark kind of run through after. Like
Rescan.
Yeah.
It's too
Scale
enthusiastic.
it back by 10%.
Way too happy to be writing this email.
Yeah, and it's always fake as well. You're like, what?
Exclamation mark.
With that, I feel we've moved from Juvenalia to very present, real adult life.
Yes.
Exclamation marks in our emails.
It happens so fast.
It does.
It did. I would like to thank everyone for coming to this really crazy time. And thank you guys for your beautiful art.
Thank you, Freya.
I mean, I haven't been able to write anything kind of my kind of own without some kind of prompt all year.
Yeah,
I don't know about you guys. Lockdown really messed with my creative impulses.
Same.
But as soon as I saw a big chalk, boy, I got that inspiration. And it filled my heart.
Like,
So
no, just
thank
seriously start sending out journals, like, be real serious about it.
Yeah, yes, collaboration. I want that in the next book.
Yeah.
I want a big chalk
big
for my bookshelf.
Juvenalia chapbook is a cute idea.
I
Or
kind
zine,
of love
or
it.
zine.
Yeah, that is
Can
cute.
get behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's what's come out of this. That's where we've got to. Thank you, everyone. Pardon? Yeah, all right. See you here next year. Big Chop will still be swallowing. I'll just finish by giving you all our ats for the socials, so you can find us and hear more of our stuff, which is vastly different to what we have done. So Jess Thompson Carr, aka Māori Mermaid, beautiful art and poetry on Instagram, and she's on Twitter. Musical Gal 03.
Made it when I was a teenager, baby. Still kept it.
And Abby House, who is a fantastic playwright. As is Nathan Joe, who is at Yellow Peril Prod, which is your company name, Yellow Peril
Well, it's more like a moniker. Or productions. I mean, I think Instagram it's Yellow Peril Productions. I think Twitter, which I never use, is Yellow Peril Prod.
Oh, right, that's where
But both work. I'm sure if
Yeah,
no one else is called Yellow Peril Prod on Instagram, probably.
Yeah, no, you got it.
Weird Protestant from somewhere.
And Emma is Emma Lyons 1, and weirdly I couldn't find you today, but then I could once you told me it had a 1, so don't forget that one. Emma is a beautiful poet, and I'm very pleased to have met you. I've met all of these guys beforehand, although Nathan only a couple of weeks ago. This is the first time I've met you, and have enjoyed every one of these fine young writers' work on the internet mainly. So it's cool to be able to be in person together in these unprecedented times. Everyone, please, there are 2 more days of the festival, so get amongst. There's all the events are free and awesome. There are programs outside, I think, and tonight there is a quiz.
Yes.
You guys go to the quiz? I'm gonna go to the quiz.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Might see you guys.
Let's win some prizes.
Is there a raffle?
Yeah. So get amongst. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, thank you to the internet.
Can I take a photo of the big chalk?
Yeah. Should we? I'll run.